Everybody, welcome to the Earliest Alert. Brian Good here as we are continuing to count down to Kentucky's darkest day. And normally I would start off with what's happening now and then work our way into the future in your most logical way. But we're talking about the eclipse. So let's get right into the overall setup as we head into about a week from today. First off, there is a front that's going to be passing through later this week, which we will be talking about. But also, more importantly, as it moves into the area, high pressure is expected to build in. Now, what you're looking at here is the Euro model. Its idea is that the front will push through here to where this weekend what we find is that high builds in to where by the time we get to eclipse day, the high is strong enough to keep us quiet. Now, it will likely be to our east, which means we will likely have a southeast, if not a south flow, which means a humid day, likely a hot day, 90 degrees or so, and likely cumulus clouds will develop because the high doesn't look to be right on top of us, so we will likely not get the full effect of the sinking air in our neck of the woods, but I do think we will have some cumulus that will begin to develop. Very much a typical August day. So what will likely happen is you start off with if the Euro's right, with a clear sky in the morning, maybe some haze, and then you get it to the 1 to 2 o'clock hour. That's when you start to see those cumulus begin to develop, and then they grow in size, and depending on where they're going to be at, depends on whether they're blocking the sun, but they should be small enough that any blocking of the sun would be temporary. But knowing our luck, it would happen right at the point when we really need it to be out of the way so we can see the sun. But that's at least a better forecast than all rain, right? So that's really the hazard I see happening would be the potential cumulus field, and the other hazard being the heat, because everybody's going to be outside. It's going to be hot, and you're going to be out there for a while, especially if you're traveling out of the area, and you're going to have to make sure you prepare for that. Make sure you have plenty of water and sunscreen. Try to stay cool because it's going to be a hot day. Now, that's the Euro idea. The GFS idea, which it's been consistent on overall, it's trending at times toward the Euro and Canadian, but it still struggles. And what it's trying to do is it sees that high pressure taking place for this weekend, but it doesn't really allow it to be locked in. It's fairly progressive flow. Yeah, it moves in, it's nice, but then it moves out. And its idea is that low pressure will be moving into the area, and we would have some increased cloud cover and some spotty showers and thunderstorms for the eclipse instead. At the moment, again, that solution is not the one that we're really going to lean toward because it hasn't been very consistent, but you can see why that's important because that path of totality, of course, being right there across western areas of Kentucky. We'll watch it. So at the moment, what we're going to do is increase the numbers a tad for the high for Louisville, about 92 degrees. Cloud coverage, that hasn't changed. It's still think because of the cumulus clouds, 40% is still fairly healthy coverage for clouds for the eclipse day. Rain chance, I want to take it to 0, but you really can't. Not at this point and this far out. You got to put a chance in. Of course, at 10%, especially being with that south flow, even though it's not showing up in the models, you can't rule out a thunderstorm potential and that kind of a deal. So we'll go with caution. All right, but it doesn't look like organized rain yet. And for Hopkinsville, cloud coverage, I will reduce it a tad more than Louisville, but the rain chance keep it the same, but still generally around that 90-degree mark will be the case. So lots to keep an eye on, guys. Don't forget, as we head into this weekend, we will be at the State Fair, which I'll be talking about that more here in just a second. All right, here's the Eclipse notes for today, and this one is the reason why we talk so much about Hopkinsville. Is for the path of totality, in every total solar eclipse, there's a point of greatest eclipse and the point of greatest duration. At one point, when this first was announced 5 years ago, when I first started visiting Hopkinsville with our stories, it was Hopkinsville for both greatest duration and greatest eclipse. And then after further analysis, it turned out that Carbondale, Illinois is going to be the point of greatest duration by 1/10 of a second, but Hopkinsville will remain the point of greatest eclipse, which means the max amount of the sun that can be ate up alive by the moon would be there. And there's only one point that can happen, and it's not technically in Hopkinsville, by the way. It's just outside northwest of there on a farm that I visited 5 years ago. The story's on way3.com. And a gentleman by the name of Mark, who I visited at the time, and I showed up at his property, and I was like, hey, did you know that your farm is the GPS coordinates for the point of the eclipse? And the expression on his face was hilarious. I'm sure he's loving it now. But anyway, it's still a healthy event there in Hopkinsville. That's where we're going to be down there for our live coverage for this, as well as here in town, by the way. Don't forget, this Saturday at the Kentucky State Fair, we're going to be giving away our pair of glasses. We can only give away one pair per person. I know you guys want more. I get that, but we have limited supply, and we want to make sure at least somebody that the people that show up, they have something in their hand to take home. So we don't want to discount that for others that show up at the fair. So just kind of a heads up on that for Saturday. And if you missed that opportunity, the day of the event, we're actually hosting this big event. It's been in the works for a while at the Big 4 Bridge Lawn there. We're going to be partnering with our Alpha Media partners, so DGX will be there as well. We're going to have the Storm Tracker out there. We're going to be giving away more glasses. The Solar Telescope will be there from the Louisville Astronomical Society, and we're going to have it displayed so you can see what the sun looks like in Louisville live right then. So you don't have to look at the glasses. If you don't have them right there, then you can look at the monitor and see. That's just part of our coverage because we're going to do a special report at 2 o'clock that day, so make sure to tune in for that. All right. It's a lot of Eclipse stuff, I know. You're going to hear me. I'm sure you're sick of hearing me talk about it already, but you're going to hear me talk a lot about it in the next 7 days. Now let's talk about the weather today. We do have some spotty showers around. The reason why we didn't really go crazy on the rain chance today is because the radar, yeah, it's lit up with rain, but it's not as impressive as what the radar is showing. So that's the reason why the reality of how much is falling is not matching the reality of what is falling on the radar view. So that's the reason why we're just kind of going the lower end. But still, there's some healthy downpours in a few spots, getting the ground wet. I'm sure you'll take it, but a lot of clouds. That's going to be the case today as this little wave kind of passes through and it brings back that humidity back into the area. Now, overall, the main issue for severe weather this week, we're going to get hot back in the 90s the next couple of days, but the cold front that will move in on Thursday, there looks to be a lot of potential energy here. The Cape is really going to build up. We have a lot of energy the way it looks now, as far as the timing, for the thunderstorms to build off of. The wind shear, if you notice the clock, it's showing a band of decent winds along the front, but it's the decent wind fields show up about 2 to 3 hours after we have the max ability of the storm energy to take advantage of that. So they're a bit displaced. That's why I think there's a bit of caution, I'm sure, going at the Storm Prediction Center on out looking for any type of severe potential. But having, at least looking at some of the data already today, the severe potential looks to be more for Ohio, Western Pennsylvania. There's a chance we may see that, and this would be a potential slight risk, may see that extend down into northern Kentucky. But I do think up and down the front in general, I think a marginal risk will at least come out. We'll see how that plays out. Here's your overall outlook. A couple of days of 90s. We've got the front Thursday. Again, we're trend drier for the weekend itself. Excuse me. I don't think I've ever sneezed before during a blog. I don't think I've ever sneezed on TV either. So, for those of you that watch this far in the video, I'll see who you actually did by the tweets and your comments you make about me sneezing there. I doubt a lot of you watched this far. Anyway, if you did, my apologies for that sneeze. Notice the 90s, though, even after the eclipse, will stick around for a couple days. And then I think we may get back into a cooler pattern as we enter September. More on that. Well, I'll get past the eclipse first, then we'll talk more about that, all right? So hang in there, guys. I'll try to sneeze again.